All right, are we ready for some more wintertime freezer projects? I think so. So we'll talk about this other branch of my collecting addiction right after this. Welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm Ross the Oliver Man. And I collect all types of farm-related things. And one thing I got into several years ago was advertising clocks. And so it was my quest to find an Oliver dealership original clock, which I did and also paid dearly for, but it's a very excellent example. And I don't know, there's probably not too many in that good of condition out there. I'll put a picture of that in there. You've probably seen it if you've watched in some of the viewer mail videos and stuff. It's been in the background before. I don't think that was the first clock I got, though. The first one was a Pioneer clock. That's been in the background of stuff before. And there's all different kinds and brands of these clocks. These are, like this one, is a Pam clock, which is the ones that I think of when you were a kid and you went into all the businesses, Pam clocks. And this particular one happens to be a non-lighted clock, meaning that it is just the mechanism of the clock and no lighted feature. And also, I have no idea of its condition. I just found this and I thought it was pretty good shape. I got it for an excellent deal as far as these clocks go. So I bought it. Now, one thing that one should understand about these advertising clocks, such as this, the Pam clocks, like this one, usually came in three shapes. They were either square, like this, orientation. They could be diamond shaped, which was this same thing, but tilted like this, you see sometimes. And then they also, round was probably one of the, I don't know if the round was the most common. Actually, I would have to say maybe the square ones were the most common. But anyway, so a lot of the ones you see are lighted, and like I said, this one is not. If they are lighted clocks, the way they're made is the face is actually a piece of glass, and it's painted on the reverse side with whatever your design is. It's painted backwards. And the unfortunate thing about that is, I found, is that whenever the finish starts to flake off, it's just darn near impossible to save it. Exceptions are, of course, out there. I did do a De Laval clock that I bought, and I'll put in a picture of it. And it is not necessarily in the greatest shape now either. I did a lot of work to it and, cleaned and painted the metal case. And then to save the face, instead of just getting a reproduction face, I wanted it because it says Wakarusa Farm Center, so that means that is a one-of-one clock. When they had specific labels to a business, they made one, and it was hanging probably in that business. I very much doubt there's another one with that same thing on it. I've seen some on eBay that say, like the name of another farm store on it or whatever that was in better shape, but I wanted that one because it was from Indiana. I actually have a non-lighted De Laval clock that just says like De Laval Dairy Equipment or something, but that would have been more like a clock that you would see multiples of, and there's more of those out there. But anyway, I love these old clocks. I think when you look at them, they just make you happy, from like times past. And so anyway, I've set out to collect them, but there's every subject matter imaginable, and you could go down a rabbit hole of just being a clock collector and have thousands of clocks. So I've tried to limit myself to farm-themed things. There is a few exceptions where I have some automotive themed clocks. But anyway, this is the most recent one I got. the MoorMan's feed clock. And it seems to be in pretty good shape. It is probably slightly dirty. And it was also missing the second hand, and the glass was broken. So, I have everything to put it back together now. But I don't even know if it runs. And on these unlighted ones, it's not that big of a deal because I don't usually run them anyway. I just hang them on the wall. But I like to know that they are functional. The lighted ones I usually light up and enjoy at different times, you know. And some of them, there's quirks about these old clocks that, what I'm getting at is, if it was really troublesome and you just wanted it to light up, you could unwire the clock motor and just wire up the lights and plug it in and, you know, use it as a night light. It wouldn't have to keep time. And the thing I'm getting at is, the second hand, when it starts, when the clock motor starts, it's supposed to have a deal in there that limits it where it can't start backwards. But when that gets wore out, then the clock can actually start running backwards when you first plug it in, so you have to watch and then unplug it and keep trying until you get it to go the right direction, and then it'll run forever in the right direction. But anyway, so we're going to pull this one apart a little bit more, and I'm probably going to try to get a damp paper towel or something, just very, very gently clean this up a little, because if you're too aggressive, you'll pull the paint right off of these, and it's even worse on the glass ones. Like I was talking about that De La Val clock, I did go back and paint the back side of it and try to make it better, and it does look tons better, but it's not perfect. It was missing like the whole section here, and so I put the numbers on backwards, which is not easy, and figured out how to paint the back so that it looks frosted like it was and blends in. It looks better though. That one looks better when you don't have the lights on, because when you plug it in, you can see everything I did. You can see all the places that I was working. The light actually makes it worse, and I tried to get around that, but it's just, you know, it is what it is. If you want to save them, you're not going to do miracle work, I guess you'd say. So I think the first order of business, this one actually has a replacement plug on it, which doesn't look to be like they did the greatest job, but it'll still work. But I don't know if it even runs, so we're going to plug it in and see if it runs. It's missing the second hand, so I'm going to throw that on here real quick, and then we will take it back apart because we need to straighten all of these hands. The second hands usually just screw on. The second hand part is threaded, and the other two hands just push on. But I'm gonna hope that I can get this done right. That seems like it's not going enough. It really doesn't have to be spectacular. I mean, the big key to these clocks is patience. You don't want to get aggravated and start going to town on them with something, because a lot of it's made of aluminum. You know, trim rings, the hands are aluminum. The trim rings are actually steel or some variant of it. I've seen aluminum ones, but they are prone to breaking in the corners, and if that happens to us, then we're going to have to table this till I get another trim ring. So we're going to plug her in and see what happens. Alright, with any luck, this will start running and not kill me electrically. So there we go. It's a little bit noisy, but not nearly as bad as some of them I've heard. It's clicking away back there. It could probably definitely use some cleanup in the mechanism. But as far as that goes, like I said, I'm not going to be running this one every day, all day, every day. I've got one in my kitchen that's a reproduction one that has a co-op face on it, and that one runs all the time. But yeah, it works. So we're going to leave well enough alone there and not worry about that. So we're going to take her back apart now. And probably, you know, just ruin stuff. That's what we do. We're going to get these off of here. And as previously stated, okay, this one has, I'm going to have two hands here. One of them pushes on and one of them is locked on. And this one's locked on. It's been a little while since I've done a clock. Yeah, I was thinking one hand was threaded on, but it's not threaded on. It's a square shaft with a nut on it. You see, and that's there. And then this back one should just be push on, where it just. And so you gotta be careful. That's what I'm saying. All right. Now, if we want to look at the mechanism, we can. This, of course, is the deal that sets the time. You pull it down, or some of them you push up, some of them you pull down. I think this is a push-up one. And the back of the non-lighted clocks are kind of finicky in the fact that some of them have this, I don't know if this is really plastic, this is probably more like Bakelite material that has the wall hanger made into it, and this is prone to cracking. I have seen some of the other ones, and I don't know if they're later ones or what, probably they are, that have a more metal apparatus on the back to keep the whole thing done. But there's these two nuts that you got to take loose, totally different shapes and sizes. And then you can get to the clock motor, which there's not much to see. I mean, it's a clock motor. And like I said, on this one, since there is no lighting, it's just the cord is hooked right to this. If you have a lighted clock, there'll be another set of wires in there that go to your two light bulbs, or if it's the kind with the fluorescent round light, then there is wires that go like to your ballast for that and this and that. And on those, I just take that out and I can get an LED ring light and put it in, and then it's totally silent. It doesn't buzz or anything and works great, comes on every time. So that's what I do. But I'm going to get some stuff and clean this up a little bit and put this cover back on, and then we will tackle the face and try to straighten that up. I guess another thing we can be doing whilst we're waiting is I'm going to try to straighten these up a little bit better, and I don't know that there is a good solution. You can get these reproduction, but you can't get them in the different colors. Original clocks you see with, sometimes they had red hands, sometimes they had green hands, sometimes they had gold hands, sometimes they had red hands with green tips, or the other way around, just depending on what the subject matter was that the clock face was about. All right, I think I got those straightened adequately enough. If I was really into this for the long haul, I would probably try to repaint those and let them dry, but I just want this put together and hanging on the wall somewhere, so I don't have to worry about it getting broken. So that's kind of where I'm at. But I've got a damp cloth here, and I'm just going to wipe this down, and then hopefully we'll be in good shape here. I know it's so fascinating to watch a man wipe a clock off, but I guess if I want to be totally accurate, though, I could, I should have taken the trim ring off first, but we can do that in a minute, and then wipe the edges again. We're just going to try to get to the part that's covered by the clockworks here. And I don't know if I said it or not, but like I said, when it's a lighted clock, it's a glass face, but this is like a piece of masonite, and it's painted on there. So if you have a non-lighted clock, you cannot make it a lighted clock by just getting a different case. It's not going to happen. This is a solid piece of wood, or whatever you want to say, fiberboard or I'm pretty sure they call that masonite, but what do I know? I'm no expert. This is just one of those hobbies that I've acquired on life's way. Just because it's kind of neat stuff. I'm cleaning off camera here. Alright. If this is going to be a clock that I would run every day, I would probably replace the cord again. But seeing as how this one is not lighted, it's not going to have any... wait a minute. I'm not thinking. There we go. It's not going to really have any run time to speak of. So, there we go. Don't want to lose any pieces. And gentle is the name of the game here, because most everything on here is made of soft metal or plastic-ish stuff, so we don't want to go wild with things. And yeah. Alright. Now the next step in this affair, I want to get this trim ring off, because that's what the trim ring is, what holds your glass on. In some corner, there it is, in one of the corners there is a split, and you can pry this tab loose just like the old tin toys and then get the trim ring off. But you don't want to go wild with it when you're pulling it apart, or you'll snap it in the corners. Some of them you can't help it, they're just too corroded. But I'm going to try to save this one, because again, the new ones only come in like chrome. They don't come in this gold color, so I'm going to try to save this one. And basically, this might be a success, and it might not. But you just have to be gentle and patient, which is not anything that I would have considered I was capable of. But you have to be. Alright. I'll lay that to the side. And now you can see how it's made of wood? It's just a piece of wood. Alright. So now we're back about to where we were. I'm going to very gently, and I need to get a new paper towel, because my other one is leaving more stuff behind, I think, than it's taking off. But there, you can already see a big difference. I can in person anyway. I don't know if you can on the camera, but between the area that I wiped and didn't wipe. So I'm going to go get another damp paper towel and just keep gently going around and try not to pull off any more paint where it's been scuffed. That probably the scuffing happened because the glass has probably been broken a long time. So anyway, I'll go grab that real quick. A lot of times you gotta be careful, because some of the blemishes you see aren't gonna come out there actually where it's ate through the paint. So you don't wanna, like I said, you don't wanna go wild, or you're gonna end up taking off more harm than good, I guess you'd say. But we don't want to take this nut loose, because that's what holds it to the... I think I'm going to have to lay it down here. Yeah, see, I'm taking off some paint, and I don't want to do that. Gotta be careful. Okay, we need to do a little bit of brushing. Sometimes it's obvious what order they painted the colors on. So like in this case, I'm getting white specks on top of stuff, and that's not that it's showing through, it's that I've rubbed some of this white flaking paint off onto the other two colors. So we need to just gently brush it down. Some of the stuff we're just going to leave alone. I could spend a lot of time maybe and try to touch up that white paint, but I think it gives it character when it's a little bit not perfect, you know. That's kind of shows that it is original. So that's about the best we can do, because like I said, this clock has been, obviously years ago the glass broke and it kept on hanging in the place, and that's just the way it was, and then time has made it worse. But it's still, I would say, a good example. I mean, you can still read the subject matter right, and all of the numbers are good. So I'm happy with the way that came out. So now we're going to put the hands back on, starting with the hour hand. Like I said, that just pushes on. The shaft is stepped. So, and then you have to take care when you do this that you got to manipulate the hands where they don't rub the face and they don't rub each other, and that they don't hit the glass. So there is a little bit of work you have to do to them, maybe, if they have been like this, original and smushed. You can't go out too much with them. So, and then usually the very tip of the longest one is kind of curved down because of the glass, or it'll hit the glass as it goes around. We'll give it a test run. Unfortunately, there's not a very good way to do a test run without putting it all together and then finding out that it's, you know, that's not bad, I don't think. Let's put this one on. There's different styles of this second hand too. I just got the most basic one. Some of them had a little decorative end on them. Let's see here. Yeah, see, those hands are not, I'm not happy with that. Those hands are hitting when the, what do you call that? The minute hand passes over the hour hand. Just run this out of the way a minute. So we're gonna have to let's bend that up a little bit. See, and then you do too much, and then it gets into the other hand, so you can't do that. I think I got it now. Pretty decent-ish. Let's make it 9 o'clock. Sure. Okay, I think I'm happy with that manipulation of these hands. So now we'll put the glass in, which is tedious because I don't want to break it. It's curved, and it was also, I think it's like $75 for a piece of this glass. So you want to be gentle, that's what I'm saying. All right, so we're going to extricate the glass from the bubble wrap, and then I'll lay it on here, and then I'll put the trim ring on. And the split on this one, it was up in that top corner. That kind of makes the most sense to me, so that if it would fail, it wouldn't maybe fall right away. It would maybe hang up on the sides first. I don't know. It's probably going to hit the floor if your trim ring breaks. You want to be careful not to touch the glass too much, or you'll get fingerprints on the inside, and then you can't clean it easy, so you don't want that. You don't want fingerprints on the inside of your glass. Let's set it down. So now the glass is on, and again, I don't know if you can see, but it's got a domed shape to it. It's not totally, yeah, I mean, you gotta have room for all that stuff, see? Now we're gonna put this trim ring on. I'll just let you watch it there. And the trim ring has a front and the back, I mean, with the way that the metal is bent. This is tedious too, because you kind of got to push her on there pretty good. There we go. Alright, there we have a nice clock back together. Let's plug her back in and hear her run one more time. Watch her go around with the old second hand and the glass. Another farm clock, saved from the dumpster, back in business. So, I don't know if you'll find this interesting or not. I never know what kinds of things you people enjoy, but these are things that I enjoy, and that's what I film. So, just another aspect of collecting that I think is something neat from the past. I like these old advertising clocks. Like I said, you just can't help but it makes you happy when you see them, you know? Brings you back to a simpler time. So, it's not very hard to work on them. It just takes patience. You can get most all of the pieces you need off of the internet, and you can bring back a clock that's been neglected. So, yeah, pretty simple. I'll find a spot for this one on the wall, and I'll enjoy it just like I do the rest of them. So, as always, if you enjoy the videos, give them a thumbs up and leave a comment. That stuff doesn't cost you anything. And as always, thank you for watching. And I'll see you in the next one.